Koi watched from the hostel window as the three girls were dropped off. Each one of them came out from the front seat of different cars, as a man stood there opening the door for them. Then, they were each hugged by the men, with some kisses planted on their foreheads. Soon, they were outside the fence of the dormitory. They climbed the fence, jumped inside, and headed straight into their hostel. The next day was Saturday. The girls were to go to the school salon to make their hair. It was a large salon that had different stylists working in it. But before any girl could enter the salon, the three queens must first go and make their hair. They paid the hair stylists extra money to concentrate only on their hair. The whole school waited until they were done. After they were done, then the other girls would go and make their hair. Koi was from a poor background. She attended a prestigious boarding school, which was an all-girls boarding school, because of the scholarship she got. She and Guy were the only two girls who won Madame Margaret's prestigious scholarship, which gave them the chance to be at St. George's. Her grooming at St. George's incurred extra expenses. She and her friend, Inky, made simple weaving styles for each other as they could not afford the luxury of the school salon. The pocket money they received from their parents was barely enough for them. They were soon done with their hair. They left the lobby and went straight into their hostel and settled down. But Sandra, Jennifer, and Mona Lisa could not hold their laughter. Just take a look at them, ugly monkeys. They don't understand that beauty is money, Sandra mocked. Some other students joined them in their laughter. At the far side of the dormitory stood their corner. Their bedding was the finest in the whole of St. George's. Their corner was finely decorated with flowers. As they sat there at their corner with crossed legs, there in front of them were packs of milky popcorn with some smoothies. Koi and Key walked briskly past them. But just as they passed, Key stumbled and fell down, mistakenly pouring away their smoothie. "I'm sorry," she muttered as she stood in front of them, trembling. "You poor thing," Mona Lisa sneered. "Have you ever seen a smoothie all your life? You have to pay for it, and this is 10,000 naira. Koi opened her mouth in astonishment. "I can't afford that huge sum," she said. "If you know you can't afford it, then better watch the way you walk." After apologizing profusely, they let Koi go. The next day in class, as Koi read her books, Mona Lisa came towards her, sparking up a conversation. "You are studying hard, aren't you?" she began. "Yes, of course," replied Koi. Well, we have an outing next week, and if you come along with us, then we'll accept you as one of us. Most girls are looking for this opportunity to belong, but I felt drawn to you out of pity." Koi looked at her, shocked, and said, "Party? Where? Are you the only girl in St. George's that doesn't know that the three partying princesses always leave for their parties on Saturdays, whether the school regulation accepts it or not? Our parents are influential, as you know. Here at St. George's, we make the rules. Even the chief security officer is at our service." Koi nodded understandably. She had always admired the three girls. They were so gorgeous, and their parents were rich too. "Okay," came her reply, her voice slightly trembling. That night, Mona Lisa sent one of the students to take some grilled catfish and smoothies to Koi's corner. Koi ate it happily. "So this is what these girls are used to enjoying," she said aloud to herself as she licked her hands. Mona Lisa's father was a politician, while both Sandra's and Jennifer's fathers were honorable members of the House of Representatives. That fateful Saturday night was the first time Koi joined them for their party. As she prepared for the Saturday night out with the girls, her friend Inky caught up with her after she came back from the salon. "Koi, you now make your hair at the school salon?" Inky asked. "Yes," replied Koi, her voice firm. "I thought we agreed to be making each other's hair," Inky continued. "Yes, that was before. Levels have changed, including previous agreements," Koi said persuasively. "Don't you think becoming friends with these girls is risky?" "It might get you into trouble," Inky said. "Trouble?" asked Koi. "I've been in this school for more than a year now, and the three partying princesses have never gotten into trouble. Do you think I'm not using my head? They are the who's who in this school and are above the law. If I join them, I also will be above the law. Inky was left to herself. No one agreed to make her hair for her. As for Koi, she now made her hair especially with the 3 partying princesses. For the first time since she entered St. George's prestigious school, Koi felt among. Koi was a slim, tall, and brown-skinned girl. She soon fitted in with the girls as they taught her how to catwalk, talk smoothly, and gesture with her body while talking. You need to master these skills, especially knowing that you are joining us to go out clubbing. The impression you give the men will determine how much of gifts and money they will be willing to part with, they told her. Finally, it was Saturday night. Jennifer, Sandra, and Mona Lisa were close to the school fence along with their new friend, Koi. They went to the side of the fence with the shortest height and climbed over. Soon, they were outside the school walls. Jennifer brought out her phone and made some calls. Soon, a very flashy car pulled over to where they stood. A very handsome young man came out of the car and gave Jennifer a hug. He kissed her on her forehead, saying, "See my baby. Oh, I've missed you so much." Then he opened the front door for her while Mona Lisa, Sandra, and Koi sat in the back seat. He drove them straight to his house. The mansion was a sight to behold, with its grand entrance, manicured gardens, and a swimming pool that sparkled under the moon. The interior was just as impressive, with modern decor, state-of-the-art amenities, and a spacious living area that could easily accommodate a small party. As they entered, Koi gasped under her breath. She tried so hard to catch her breath at the lavish riches the environment exuded. The sound of the soft music from the DJ and the complementing disco light left Koi in awe. As soon as the girls entered, both Sandra and Mona Lisa went straight to embrace their own boyfriends. Koi stood in the sitting room awkwardly, looking at the girls. This was exactly what her mother warned her against when she won the scholarship. Avoid men and concentrate on your studies. They will only be a distraction. She looked at the 3 girls as they kissed their boyfriends passionately and shamelessly. "Come on, girl," Mona Lisa said. "Loosen up a bit. Life is not all about books. You have to catch fun and enjoy." Koi stood there speechless as she watched the ease with which the girls flung themselves at the men. As she wondered at the freedom with which the girls kissed the men, she remembered her mother's advice: keep men at arm's length so that you can become useful to yourself. But these girls have never gotten pregnant despite being free with men, Koi thought. As she pondered this, a man approached her. He was tall and handsome, his aura commanding attention. "Hey, fine angel. How are you doing? Can I keep you company?" he asked with a warm smile. Koi's heart skipped a beat. "I'm fine, sir. Thank you," she replied shyly. He sat down beside her and introduced himself. "My name is Ken. May I know yours?" "My name is Koi," she said hesitantly. "I like you. You look so beautiful, like an angel," Ken continued. Soon after, the other 3 girls arrived with glasses of whiskey in their hands. "Hey Koi," they said. "Hope you're catching on. You didn't take your drink, holy girl. You have to learn how to be a big girl now." Koi smiled nervously but didn't respond. Before the girls left, they each received gifts from their boyfriends: clothes, money, and gadgets. Koi, too, was given a new iPhone by Ken. "Take this phone, my angel, and also this money. Don't hesitate to call me whenever you need me," Ken said. Koi was overjoyed. She had never used an Android phone before, and here she was with an iPhone. She truly felt like one of the happening girls of St. George's. Back at school, Koi continued to call Mr. Ken every day. When the other girls were out of the hostel, the 3 partying princesses would call their boyfriends, and Koi would join them, calling Ken. He would shower her with praises and sweet names, making her feel special. Koi was indeed happy to belong. She walked amongst the happening girls on campus and had left Inky behind. By their next outing, they were at the same venue with their different boyfriends. Each of the girls entered separate rooms with their boyfriends, leaving Koi and Mr. Ken alone. As Mr. Ken came forward to touch Koi, she protested, saying, "I can't do this. My mother warned me against it." "Then why are you here?" Mr. Ken asked angrily. "Give me the iPhone I gave you," he said, shoving her aside. When her friends returned, Mr. Ken spoke to them, saying, "Bring me a girl that knows what's up. I don't need these local girls who come here to waste my time." Back at the hostel that day, the girls talked to Koi. "Look at how you've missed your opportunity to become a big girl," they said. "Why are you so childish? Your mother said this, your mother said that. Does it look like we don't have mothers? Is your mother here with you in school? But what if I get pregnant?" Koi asked nervously. "There's nothing like that," Mona Lisa said. "Besides, we have drugs that can easily take care of that." Finally, Koi made up her mind. She wanted to be a big girl. After all, Mr. Ken had promised to even marry her after high school. Koi threw herself at Mr. Ken with reckless abandon. Every Saturday, she would go to their usual meeting place, eat and drink with the group, and sleep with Mr. Ken before returning to the hostel. Soon, it became normal for Koi to abort her pregnancies each time she became pregnant. As the months progressed, Koi became completely distracted from her studies. She moved from being at the top of her class to struggling with poor grades. She always felt weak, often fainting, and her health began to deteriorate. One weekend, as usual, Koi and the three partying princesses snuck out of the school to meet their boyfriends. They danced, ate, and drank. But when Koi returned to the hostel, she realized her period had been delayed for weeks. Panicking, she used the pregnancy test kit they kept hidden in the hostel. The result was positive. Koi's heart sank. She immediately took the abortion pills she had used before, expecting the pregnancy to terminate. But this time, nothing happened. She took more pills, hoping for a different outcome, but her condition remained unchanged. Her anxiety grew with each passing day, as her stomach started to bulge. Koi confided in her friends, Sandra, Jennifer, and Mona Lisa, begging them for help. But they shrugged her off. "Why are your things always different, Koi?" Mona Lisa snapped. "We've been doing this for years without problems. You just joined, and you're already creating drama. Don't put us in trouble." Their words stung. After that, the three girls began avoiding her like a plague. Koi's situation worsened. Her growing belly made it impossible to hide her condition. Fearing the school authorities would find out and expel her, she decided to confront Mr. Ken directly. That Saturday night, Koi snuck out of school alone and went to the house she believed was Ken's. She knocked on the gate, determined to face him and demand answers. To her shock, a well-dressed woman opened the gate. "Who are you looking for?" the woman asked. "I'm looking for Mr. Ken," Koi said, her voice trembling. The woman raised an eyebrow. "Oh, you mean my husband? Who are you?" Koi's heart dropped. I'm his girlfriend," she stammered. The woman burst into laughter. "Girlfriend? Or one of his girlfriends?" "Young lady, Ken is our driver, not my husband. He's married with children back in the village." Koi stood frozen, her world crumbling around her. "But, he said this is his house," she whispered. "This is my house," the woman said firmly. "Ken has been lying to you. You're not the first girl to show up here claiming to be pregnant for him. You're the third." Koi's knees gave way, and she collapsed to the ground, clutching her head as tears streamed down her face. The woman softened her tone. "Do you have a mother?" she asked. "Yes," Koi replied, barely audible. "Then go back to her. It's better to face her disappointment than to let this situation destroy your life," the woman advised. Koi staggered away, her mother's words echoing in her mind. "Avoid men and focus on your studies." With no money to travel back to her village and no courage to face her mother, Koi returned to the hostel. She begged Mona Lisa to help her one last time. Reluctantly, Mona Lisa agreed. The following Saturday, they visited a quack doctor outside the school who agreed to perform an abortion despite the risks. This pregnancy is 4 months along. It's very dangerous, the doctor warned. Desperate, Coy and Mona Lisa pleaded with him until he agreed. The procedure was done in secrecy, but something went terribly wrong. As they snuck back into the hostel, Coy collapsed outside the gates, bleeding profusely. Students who saw her raised an alarm. The school authorities rushed her to the hospital, where doctors fought to save her life. They performed multiple surgeries, but it was too late. Coy had lost too much blood. She died on the operating table, leaving her parents and the school in shock and grief. Moral of the story: young girls should focus on their studies and heed their parents' advice. Avoid bad company and resist peer pressure, as it can lead to life-altering consequences. If you make mistakes, don't hesitate to seek help from your parents or trusted adults. It's better to face temporary disappointment than irreversible tragedy. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to Folktales by T. Stay tuned for more life-changing stories.